Welcome back, my friends, to the I Was Born to Do This podcast. It is an extraordinary place where we gather authors and entrepreneurs and leaders and talk about what they were born to do, why they do what they do, why they're out changing the world. And today I'm very lucky and honored that I get to have one of our very own JOA authors, Matika Warner, on the show. Matika is a phenomenal human. I've had the opportunity to work with her for the last year in my mastermind. She has written and published a book. She's also out creating amazing creations in the world. Matika, welcome.
Thank you, Kira. I'm so honored to be here, especially because you are someone that has completely changed my life.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. We're 3 minutes in. I'm already crying. Oh, really? Matika, you are such a special human, and I feel so lucky that our paths have crossed. I would love for you to just maybe give a little background on who you are. I also want to drop that she has you have 4 kids or 3 kids?
Three.
Three
Yeah.
kids under the age of what?
6.
6. That's what it was. You got a ton of little kids. And so I want to plug this, okay? Because there's a bazillion people who say they don't have time to write a book. And for sure, you do not have time to write a book. And yet you were able to write a book, and not just any book, like a really powerful book. I've had so many people tell me how much your book has changed their lives. And you did that raising 3 little kids under the age of 6, which is like really, really amazing.
Yeah.
So give us a background on you.
Yeah, my name is Matika Warner, and I am a mother. I have 3 little kids, and I'm also just very entrepreneurial minded. I've always had different passion projects, but I feel like for the first time in my life, I just feel so sure of where I stand and what I'm meant to do in this world. And it's all thanks to this journey of writing my book. So my purpose is helping people overcome fear, escape stagnation, and then tap into the limitless flow of creation that is within us all. And truly, our power lies within. And so, I mean, I've just been on this life-changing journey. When I first knew that I was supposed to hire you, Kira, as my coach, it was kind of at like my worst financial crisis moment of my adult life. Like me and my husband, we were on welfare. We couldn't pay our rent. And I was receiving help with groceries. And right at that time, I knew, like, I had met you, Kira, and I knew I was supposed to work with you. And I like to tell people this price. I don't want to put you in a box. I know you have different pricings for your different offerings, but that was going to cost me $24,000 to hire you as my coach, to help me coach me through writing my book, and the publication and all of that. But I mean, $24,000 when you can't afford your rent. It was the scariest decision, but I knew that I needed to make it work. I knew I needed to do it. And it's just, that was such a life altering decision. Just jumping full feet in, 2 feet in. I think you say that, Kira, but jumping 2 feet in and going on this journey. I mean, here we are a year later. It was last August, so it's been a year and a month. And my book is published. I paid that debt off. I mean, we can pay our rent easily, and it's only going up from here. So it's just crazy.
What I love about you is your wild faith.
Yeah.
Wild faith mixed with wild action is where miracles live. And you didn't do it haphazardly. You weren't like, I'm going to go buy this really expensive car for 24,000. I'm going to go on this really expensive vacation that's 24,000. You knew that that 24,000 was going to be the investment that changed the course of your lives. And it did. But it's because you took wild action. So people spend 24,000 with me and sometimes don't get the same results as you. But because this was such a leap of faith, it was a non-negotiable for you, a non-negotiable not only to write and finish your book, but then to continue and build the business that goes with the book. And that's why you've had such wild success. So even though I know I was a very big piece of this, if you hadn't shown up on the other side, you wouldn't have gotten these results. So I really pour the results that you've gotten on you, because you You kept showing up, even in the darkest places, even when the book got dark, because it does for every author.
Yeah.
There's these windows of darkness. You showed up and you showed up and you showed up. And I'm celebrating where you're at. And this is only the beginning for you.
Yeah, I totally feel that. And I agree with you that I needed the experience for me of paying that money. And so now, as I'm transitioning into coaching, I'm not afraid to charge a lot. I'm not afraid to charge these higher prices because I know how empowering it is to, pay something that really terrifies you and to just make it work. Like I needed that for me. And it was funny. I was telling someone this past week about this experience and they were just like, "Oh, wow, $24,000. I mean, I guess that's justifiable if it includes the publication." I'm like, "It doesn't matter how much it costs. Like she changed my life." Well, I mean, I needed that. I would have paid like 4 times that with how much it changed my life. So it in the end it's like just a number.
Yeah.
And it is like it was like what I did with that. I paid that money and I committed. So
This is such a huge piece. And I want to just say this part of like why I actually charge 24 to 50,000. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, it's 50,000. And it's
yeah,
not even because I'm like, this is how much money I want to make. It's because of what it takes, the miracles it takes for someone to say yes to that price changes them. It's actually alchemy. So when
yeah,
we charge a higher price, it is alchemy for the person who has to figure out how to pay for it. And then guess what? Those people, they show the hell up.
yeah,
If I was $5,000, no one would come to the mastermind and no one would write their books, right?
yeah.
As you are stepping into this, price is alchemy.
Well, I mean, I did another mastermind that was 5,000 and I totally half-assed it. Like, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I've done programs that are $300 and it wasn't until this one that terrified me. And I thought 5,000 was scary in the moment, but still, it's not scary enough.
Isn't that interesting? So I love hearing your story. I want to talk about your journey of the book before we get to the book. So talk to me about the journey when you saw the first vision of this book and then how it was to write the book.
Yeah. Well, I never imagined myself writing a book. That was not a plan I had for my life. But every New Year's, I write a New Year's manifestation letter to myself. And so let's see, it was 2021. It was December 2021 before 2022. Okay. But I was just starting to think about what do I want for this new year? What desires do I have? And and I was just opening up my heart and this feeling came into my heart, write a book. And I was like, that's interesting. I've never even thought about that before. But all of a sudden, it was this true desire. And I was like, I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. So that New Year's Day, January 1st, 2022, I wrote down, I am writing a book. I am being guided to a publisher and an editor. I am publishing my book. I just put it out as if it was. And then I think it was a week later that I came across this flyer on Instagram for this Write Your Book workshop that Kira was hosting near me. And I had never met you before, but I was like, I know that I need to go to that. I have to be there. And again, I mean, I feel like this has been my theme. I went to register thinking it was going to be like $75 for this workshop, and then it was $333, and it was just like, okay, it was that like trust, right? And you proved it to me from the very beginning. But I was like, I just need to go. And so I put it on my credit card and I was like, I have to be there. Anyways, I show up to this Write Your Book workshop. And the minute you started talking, Kira, I just had chills over my whole body. I was like, this woman's going to change my life. I know I'm supposed to work with her. And that was such a life changing experience. So I knew I was supposed to write a book then. I didn't hire you as my coach right away because I was very pregnant. I was going to have my baby in February. And I was like, I just got to put this on pause. But in my heart, I knew that this was going somewhere down the road. So, anyways, I had my baby 6 months later. August 2022 was when I made that decision to sign up. And it's amazing because my book, I knew I was supposed to write a book before I even knew what the book was about. A huge part of my journey learning about manifestation came with the birth of my baby girl. So it was like I knew I was supposed to write a book before I even birthed her. And then I just had the most miraculous birth experience. I manifested her birth down to the day. And it was something I had tried with my middle child, the baby before that, and I crashed and burned, and none of it even worked out how I wanted. And it was so discouraging. And then I had this full circle miracle of like manifesting this amazing birth experience. And so that was like my book right there. I had this experience and I started decoding it and learning the true messages within that experience. And anyways, yeah, it was an incredible journey.
I love it. It really, I remember when you walked in, which by the way, like I only had one person signed up for that class and I was flying all the way to Utah and renting a car and it was like a whole thing, right? It wasn't like, well, it was just down the street. Right. And so I like to
Yeah.
tell this piece because a lot of people think, well, if you don't have a whole group of people coming to an event, you should cancel it. I had one sign up, right? I'm spending all this money flying to Utah, renting a car, staying in a hotel. And I knew I was supposed to be there. And not only was I supposed to be there to just claim, no, I show up even if no one signed up or one person signed up, but you chose to work with me and another woman chose to work with me at that event, which then produced two phenomenal books, right? And it's such a testament of like, we show up when we say we're going to do something because we don't know whose lives will change. And if it's one person or 100 who signed up, you show up for the one.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm so grateful I did because then you and I would have never met and all this magic wouldn't have been birthed and your book wouldn't be here. And I want to talk about your book. So I've got a copy of it right here. It's called Manifestation Rewritten. And it is just, I mean, just when you look at it, just to hold this book, you can feel the vibrational frequency is different. And I love this tagline up here, escape stagnation and magnetize your most vibrant life. Phenomenal. So let's talk about the book. Why don't we start on who needs this book? Who needs to read and purchase this book today?
So anyone who feels stuck, I know what it's like to feel stuck. I've always been a huge dreamer and I've had huge, big visions and dreams for my life. But when you just feel so stuck and you don't know how to get there and you're trapped in stagnation, whether that be financial stagnation, stagnation in your relationships, when you just feel like you're in this cage and you can't get out, that's the worst feeling in the world. And so my book really goes through the process of how to escape stagnation. When we're living in stagnation, it's like water. So stagnant water becomes poisonous and toxic. Our bodies are made up of water. So when we're in stagnation, just feels icky, toxic, like that murky water. But when we can tap back into flow and movement, moving water heals and purifies itself. And that's where creation is born. And so it's all about how to get out of stagnation. And it starts within. Our power is within. And it's just little things, movement, flow, releasing all of the things that are keeping us stagnant.
And all of that. I mean, I feel like we could take everything you said and turn that into a quote because about the water, we all understand it. We all have walked by stagnant water and it's got mosquitoes and it's got like lime in it. And it's just disgusting. And to imagine drinking that, oh, like, right? That's disgusting. But then last night, I took my kids up to a hot springs. And on the way back from the hot springs, there's this spigot that someone plugged into the mountain and it pulls forth fresh spring water. And you get to just bring your little cups and bottles and fill up water. And so, 10 o'clock last night, we're filling up these water bottles of fresh water. And I think of that straight from the mountain water, and we're just drinking it. It's like, oh, it tastes so clean and delicious, and it's wonderful. We all, as listeners right now, can feel the difference between the stagnant water and that fresh mountain water. And we've all been in the stagnant water. We've all been here. And when you're there, it feels like there's no way you can get over to the fresh water. So that's the bridge that I want you to talk about right now. How do we help people go from the nasty stagnancy? Let's say that's a word, stagnancy. Yes. That stagnant, yucky energy over into fresh, clear energy. How do we make that bridge for our listeners?
Yeah, one of the things that I teach is you need to raise your vibrations. You need to raise your frequency first, and then you actually magnetize your true desires. So the world focuses so much on like, focus on your desires and then attract them, right? Do the vision boards, do the prayers, do all of that stuff to pull your desires in. But I found you can actually flip that on its head. So start to raise your vibrations very first, and you will become a magnet for your true desires. And raising your vibrations, I mean, for me, so when I had tried to manifest this, my birth experience with my middle child, my little baby boy, the first time, and I crashed and burned, I was really disappointed because I had had so much faith that I was going to receive what I wanted. And so when I crashed and burned, it was so hard. But that's when I started practicing yoga. I started being very mindful. I was doing meditation. I was grounding with the earth. I was getting out of my old boxed ways of thinking and just expanding my visions, connecting with God in entirely new ways. And I was raising my vibrations to start to attract my true desires. It became this year of miracles for me. Like, I ended up leading a yoga retreat with my best friend in Costa Rica. It came into my life like that. It was so fast, but it was because I was practicing raising my vibrations first. And then I was discovering this world of desires I didn't even know existed, but that just filled my life with so much purpose and excitement. So it really comes down to the super simple things like meditating, releasing our old stories of pain and fear, practicing forgiveness. And people who have been through a lot of trauma and it's really hard to forgive, I just say embody the frequency of love. The forgiveness will happen on its own. You don't actually have to try to forgive. You just embody the frequency of love within you. Love yourself. Really embody that throughout your entire body, and you will get to a place of acceptance with your pain. You will be able to forgive without forcing to forgive. And all of these beautiful things will just happen on their own, and you'll become a magnet for miracles.
Oh, this is so good. I do have witnessed this in my life. That's something that God has really taught me. It's like be the match. Be the match to the miracle that you want. And for you and me, this is our language, like raise your vibrations, be the match. Of course, of course. But to those who are listening, maybe not so much. So let's dissect this down a little bit of like what vibrations are and what are ways that people can raise their vibrations.
Yeah. So everything is energy, even our emotions, feelings, thoughts. Some of the lowest vibrating emotions are shame and guilt and anger, resentment. These are really low vibrating. The highest ones are joy and love. But the thing is, it's impossible to jump from shame and guilt and anger straight to joy. And so you just have to climb the ladder one step at a time. The main crossover point between the negative emotions and the positive emotions is acceptance. If you can get to a place where you just literally accept things how they are, they're in the past, they happened, you're here now. The only thing you can do is move forward. If you can just accept that, you will be able to slowly climb the emotional ladder and slowly start to raise your frequency. So if you can get to a place of acceptance and then even just like sit outside in the sunshine, grounding with the earth, and just think, I accept, I accept. and just see what happens. I mean, it will automatically change your energetic frequency and you'll start to feel lighter.
I love this. I love this. I think of, for those who still maybe not understand vibrations or frequency, think of it as a radio station, and how when you're like 4 points off or like four dials down from the real station, you can hear the song. It's a little bit itchy, right? It's a little bit scratchy. Then you get one dial closer, it gets a little bit clearer, one dial closer, a little bit clearer. Then finally that the dial's on and it's this song is strong and clear. Our energy is like that. And so when we're off, things are a little itchy. So what you're teaching is, how do we dial people in? And that comes from get outside, be in the sun. I think I've never heard that said before. Be the energy of love and acceptance. You don't have to worry about how to forgive. Oh, Matika, that is profound. And what an easier way, because forgiveness, and I'll speak for myself as I've been through some hard things in my life. Forgiveness has actually been very easy until recently. And I've been like, this feels hard. You know, when other people are involved and they're hurt, it's hard to forgive when it comes to other people for me.
Yeah.
It's easier when it comes to me and someone offends me. It's very easy to forgive for me. But this has been my first experience where forgiveness has been hard because other people were hurt. And I have struggled. Like, I don't know how to forgive when it involves other people. And so hearing you say that just changed my life of like, oh, I just have to be the vibration of love. I don't have to figure out how to forgive. So like, thank you. That's something I needed today.
It's so beautiful. You don't, I think we're taught, you know, you need to forgive to be free. Like we've been taught that. But the truth is, you don't actually have to worry about the action of forgiving. You can just embody love and it will happen on its own because love heals all. And it can take its time and that's okay. But it really is just going within, connecting with your heart, focusing on love.
And that feels like on Chutes and Ladders, that game when we were little kids, Chutes and Ladders. Remember how like you'd get the ladder and you'd like shoot and you'd go up like 3 layers faster. It feels like love is the ladder that just shoots people all the way up the vibrational scale where they don't have to go out and do a bunch of things. They just have to feel love. That's what I'm hearing you say. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell me about something in your book that right now I want someone's life to change right now. As I know it already has, but let's give them one thing that like it can just activate miracles for them in their life.
Let's see. The main thing I'm feeling right now to share is this idea of love and going within and connecting with God. So my entire life, I believed that connecting with God was this list of action steps. Pray, go to church, read your scriptures, whatever. And it was just like this, it was going out here and doing externally. And eventually I realized that connecting with God happens within. The closer I got to my own heart, the more I opened up to God. And when we connect with our bodies, we connect with our receiving channels to receive God. And so it doesn't happen externally, it happens internally. And this is something that has completely changed my life. I mean, I remember the first time I really felt the presence of God in meditation. I was just meditating and I just felt this like elevation in my body. I could see light and my eyes were closed and I just felt this immense joy wash over my body. And then my intellect started taking over and was like, open your eyes. I was so curious. I wanted to see what was on the other side, you know, of my eyelids. I opened my eyes and immediately I was brought back down to earth in this dimly lit room. And that's when I learned that this light, this love of God is within us. Like we are deeply connected to it. And so the more we go within and connect with our bodies, then we will be able to connect with our receiving channels to receive God. And it's so beautiful. And then if you look at the other side, I mean, you look at the side of evil, that is the main goal, is to pull us away from our bodies. The devil wants us addicted, numb, totally disassociated from our true places of power. And he knows this. And so it really is connecting with the body. And so, Kira, something you taught me when I came to that creators retreat that you did, I was kind of on autopilot. I'm like, I'm going to this retreat so I can work on my book. And so I was like autopilot every chance I got working on my book. And there was one time it felt so forced. And you sensed that. You sensed my energy. You came over to me. You held my feet in your hands and you were like, Matika, take some deep breaths. What do you want in this moment? And you gave me permission to actually listen to my body instead of doing the things that I thought I was supposed to do, right? The things that I thought were going to be most productive. And you just invited me to listen to my body. And I tell the story in my book, but I was like, I just want sunshine. And you're like, yes, go sit out by the pool, go soak in some sun. And it was just like this really amazing experience for me because I realized that's exactly where our power is. And it can be so simple. It's like, I want a drink of water, I want to sit in the sunshine. That's God speaking to us through our bodies. The more we listen to our bodies, the more we are divinely guided in our lives. And it usually doesn't look anything like how we would say, like, this is the most productive thing I could be doing right now.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I love that. I didn't even remember that until you said that. And then I remember my sister caught a video of you and I both laying out by the pool channeling your book.
yeah.
And so it's like when we go where the body asks us, we're always in the flow.
And that's the last thing I was going to add is I was trying to force my book and nothing was coming. The minute I listened to my body and like refilled my energy, my joy, I came back and I was able to channel my book so much easier after that point.
Yeah.
So it
Oh,
all comes down to going within our bodies, our receiving channels. We can't force creation. We have to be in flow because Satan operates in force, God operates in power. When we come back to our place of power, creation flows so easily.
I love that. And resistance works in force. So coming to, back to why people write their books so easy with JOA and the process I teach is because I always say, if you feel like you're stuck, you're forcing it and you're not hearing God.
Yeah.
But if you can drop in, you can receive it, then there's no writer's block. And this is why writing a book is not like, oh, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, but it's like way easier than the world makes it. And you really proved that. And so I mean, my love for you is like, there are no bounds. I have so much love for you. And I'm so honored to have worked with you for a year. And that from here on out, I mean, we got years of creations that we're going to collaborate on and do. But to stamp JOA on your book, to have your book be a part of our library is just like such an honor. And I know so many lives are going to change from your book and from you. Just the presence of who you are changes people. I came to your book launch. You had a book launch in Utah. I threw all my kids in the car. I said, let's go. We're going to the book launch, dropped them off at the skate park, an indoor watched skate park, and came to your book launch party. And I watched you lead this one, that you put this whole thing together, that you rented this beautiful building. Oh, I like want to live at that building. It's so beautiful. You made it so gorgeous inside. But I watched when you spoke, Matika, and very few people have that power of when they speak, it changes people's cells. And you have that. And so you putting this book into the world, you writing it, claiming that this is what you were born to do. This is who you were here to be. And then going out in as many groups that you can lead. Because when you speak, it changes people. And we need more people like you. It's amazing.
I just am like overflowing with gratitude. The thing I love about you and JOA is that you do things differently. And it really is about helping each individual author come to their place of power, discover who they are, and you do things differently. It's connecting with the heart and letting the book flow. There's no force. You're getting out of your head with it. You're really getting into your heart. And I'm so grateful for all of the gifts that you have helped me discover along this journey. It's been so beautiful.
This has been my deepest honor. Deepest honor. So as we close up today, I always ask my guests to drop into your heart and just ask, what is the final message that you want to give to our listeners?
You don't need to be afraid. Usually that big life-changing decision that is super terrifying is exactly the step you need to take in order to change your life. And I've just experienced that full throttle faith over fear. And when we harness that, we get to open up to this world of possibility that we never even knew existed. I mean, a whole new dimension. So that's my message. Full throttle faith over fear.
Oh, yes, we're putting that on a quote. And everyone, I want you to go grab her book on Amazon. You're going to love it. Go follow her. Tell us, where do people follow you? Where do they find you? How can they connect to you?
So I have the Manifestation Rewritten podcast. Pretty much wherever podcasts are available, it's there. And my Instagram is Soul Heart Awakening. So
I love it. All right, everyone, go grab her book, go listen to her podcast, go DM her. I know she will respond to you if you want her to speak at your events, if you want her to lead some sound healing manifestation groups, if you want to work with her in her mastermind. She has a lot of offerings that if you work with Matika, your life will change. That is true. You all felt it today in this episode. So go connect to her. I will have things in the show notes below. And as we end today, my message to those who are listening is simply believe. Believe that all these things are possible, that your life can and will transform when you shift your vibrations and learn how to match what you want. It's all possible. You and I stand as witnesses of this, and we are not the only ones. So everyone here, your life can and will change if you choose to, what were the words? Full throttle trust?
Full throttle faith over fear.
Oh, if you full throttle faith over fear. All right, Matika, deep love to you. All of our listeners, sending you so much love. I will see you on the next episode of I Was Born to Do This.